when I crashed in Greg's jet, it was I had my left arm was all blowed up and black and blue, and my arm looked like Popeye. Is what it looked. That's what I called it. I said, look at my arm. It looks like Popeye. You know, it's all swelled up from my elbow down to my wrist, and then everything went away for about a month and a half, close to 2 months. I was all the black and bluing and everything would not go away, and it was staying there. And then everything was fine. My arm looked just like my right arm. I got up on a morning, maybe a couple months after all the black and bluing went away, and I woke up and there was this lump on my arm, and I said, "What the heck is that?" So I went to the doctor, and he explained to me what it was. He said, "You remember when you came here to see me, and your arm was swollen?" He said, "What that actually is he said it's scar tissue in your arm. There's nowhere to go, so it bundles up and everything, and boom." He said, "So I'm always going to get it taken out. I probably should because everybody's always looking at it and asking me about it, but it's just a small bump on my left arm, and it's scar tissue in my arm from the accident."
So now, Richard, what would you consider to be some of the milestones of your racing career?
What would be the milestone for me to go to now?
No, what were some of your milestones?
Okay. I would say the run at San Air Drag. That was the milestone of it all right there. That 551 run, that 292. Going into Greg McCluskey's funny car with the Hemi in it, and how excited to see him when he seen the board light up at 231 miles an hour. Because we were used to running, like I said, the first year I was driving for him, the car ran in the 190s. So that was quite exciting. That was quite a milestone jump for me. And then, honestly, getting in Gary Sullivan's pro mod, that was a lot on my table, and that was a milestone that I really had to tackle, because if I had to compare all the cars out there that I've driven, from the alcohol dragsters, the nitro fuel dragsters, the funny cars, the jets, that pro mod, I think, is probably the hardest car I've ever driven. And I would say that many people would probably agree with me that the pro mod and pro stock gotta be the two hardest cars on the drag strip to actually drive and know what you're doing in there. So when I actually accomplished that deal with Gary Sullivan with that pro mod, that was a heavy milestone for me right there.
So now, Richard, if you were able to do time traveling and go back in time, would you do anything differently with your drag racing career?
If I had to go back in time, I would say that I wouldn't change much. Only because what I did was, I think the way Greg McCluskey noticed me was because I was only running a Super Comp dragster when I started, running the Midwest states. But I went out and made it look like we were a top fuel team, more or less. I had everybody that was with me had crew shirts on. Everybody that was with the car, we had something for them to do. I made it look so professional that, let's go back here to 1998, the first inaugural race, Route 66 Dragway. I won Best Appearing Crew. And it was the first time ever that they actually, with Best Appearing Crew, they always take just a picture of the crew. They'll have you come up by the starting line, they'll tell you what time to be up there, and you get the whole crew. I remember there was a lady from NHRA that year, and she pulled up about an hour after they told us that we won Best Appearing. She came over and came back and said, they want you to bring the car. They love the way your car looks and the team with the shirts, so come on up. And I said, really? So that was actually the first time ever that there was a crew picture taken for NHRA with the car behind us. So I said that, and it was neat. I mean, and actually the car was actually in front of us. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah. Jay Hollinger was there, and the CEO from Division 3, Richie Bauer. So it was nice because I had a good crew with me that day. To change anything, I probably wouldn't change too much because I tried to do everything the way every owner wanted me to do it, and I would do it the same way today. Honestly, if I do get a steady ride again, I can only tell you that once I'm comfortable in that car, I think myself right now, I think I'm going to probably have some of the best driving time of my career if I get back in.
Why don't you go buy a Pro Mod and run with the Chicago Wise Guys?
Oh, yeah. And I know all of them, so it wouldn't be hard to do it. But that is a great group. You gotta love them guys. I mean, there you go again. I mean, Pete Demos. I remember when he started up this thing. I remember Dominic Molasco running with the Wise Guys with his 41 Willys coupe, blown car, blown alcohol motor in it, and it was a car to beat. Now today, the way they got it is all Pro Mod class, pretty much so. Dominic's 41 Willys or 40, whatever it is, wouldn't be able to make that show. But back when they first started, I'm telling you, it was an amazing show because they had everything from probably 9 seconds to 7 seconds. And if you were in the sevens with them, and I think Dominic was a 7-second car, if I remember, he was in the sevens with that Willys. And it was a, you know how exciting their show is today?
Oh, yeah.
It was just as exciting back then, even having 9 to 7-second cars, because it was just something that everybody wanted to see because it was that heads up racing. They were going after each other. There was no mercy for nobody, and everybody wanted to go. And I'll tell you, then you take, like I said, you go to Pete Demos there, little by little, he turned that whole thing in after so many years. He turned that whole thing into a group of guys that if someone hears the Wise Guys, they're going out there to watch them. You see? Then I look at where I started with the Midwest Super Comp Series. If I had a guy just recently ask me, he said, now, for a long time, since when? I said, since 2000, if you want to know, and he said, you've been driving in the pro classes since 2000. I said, yes. He asked me, he said, if someone offered you right now and said, hey, I just built the Super Comp car, or I'm changing drivers, or I'm getting out of the car, I want to put somebody in the car, would you go back and drive that Super Comp dragster? And I said, yes. And he said, you heard? I said, yes. Especially if they were going to run with the Midwest Super Comp group, because I think it would be so much fun to go back and, it's like, here's the way I look at it. I feel fortunate that I lived the dream at one time to be a pro driver and made it there. And then was a sportsman driver for over 8 years before that. Would I go back and drive a sportsman car? Yes, why wouldn't I? Because I started there, but also it would be exciting just to be with some of them guys that I ran with before, because I know that probably more than half of that Midwest Super Comp series is the same guys. They love that class. They run it every year. Rich Kwazaborski and them guys and the brother and all them guys that run it, they hold that group together just like the Wise Guys. So in the Midwest here, the Super Comp Series, the Midwest Super Comp Series, the Wise Guys, I'm telling you, those two groups right there are the best run group of any of the groups that I know of around the area. I'm sure there's other ones in other states, other areas, but yeah, I thought it would be exciting sometime to go back and sit in a Super Comp car and especially be able to run with this, a race with the Midwest Super Comp guys. I just thought it would be a special evening, and I just I seen a guy over the past weekend, and he told me, he says, why don't you come to the Midwest Super Comp banquet this year? It would be kind of nice to see you. and come out. He said, and I said, I might do that, and I probably will now, because I'll get to see a lot of the guys that I started racing with years back.
Yeah, next year will be the 25th year for the Wise Guys.
25 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And it's like I said, it just seems like it gets better every year. And then you get some of these guys out there that are just, I mean, they're serious racers. That group is serious racers, and the show is just tremendous. And I got it, like I said, I hand it to Pete Demos. He keeps that group together well, and everybody respects him quite some for holding that group together. And it gives them all a place to go race where, if they had to really go run NHRA Pro Mod, it's going to cost you a lot more than running with the Wise Guys. No doubt. Anything that you want to do with NHRA is going to cost you more. But then you still have to have a car that runs all the rules and everything still has to be the same, or the car doesn't pass cuck. So it's like they say, it's how much can you afford and where you want to run.
Yep. Well, Richard, I want to thank you very much for your time for the interview tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate the thoughts of you to get in touch with me, and it was really a pleasure being on your show.
You have any final words for people listening out there?
And what? Say that again?
I said, do you have any final words you want to say to anybody listening?
Anybody that's out there, I know my daughter was really going to be getting into listening tonight. She was going through the whole thing today, telling me she's going to be out there. So, Nicole, if you're out there, I really appreciate you being out there. If my wife's listening, I'm not sure, but I know she's probably pretty proud of this thing tonight. So, if my wife there is listening, yes, I love her and my daughter and the whole family. So, I just hope that my daughter right now is becoming to be a pretty big supporter of mine to get back into the seat somewhere. So I'm hoping that everything comes back around here real soon.
Sounds good, Richard. Well, thanks again for your time tonight.
Okay, and like I said, thanks again for having me on your show.
And maybe we'll see you behind the wheel of something sometime.
I can guarantee you, the minute I know, you'll be the first one to know about it.
All right. Yeah, shoot me a text message or comment, whatever.
I sure will.
All right. Take care. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Good night.
Bye-bye.